did during the Seyfo, it was the village, one of the villages, that could not be penetrated.
Yeah, we talk more about this, but I mean, we have to get Johnny in.
Sorry.
And then we can continue more details after his call. Johnny, after hearing this, you know what I feel, I mean, personally, and being an Aramaic Syriac, I feel like you are really fighting the good fight of faith. God forbid, what is the next step if you are going to lose the case? And I'm sorry to ask this question.
Well, I think I already partially have answered this question when I said that if we will lose this case in Turkey, of course we will appeal to it and bring it to the European Court of Justice. So that this will be the next. But we are still fighting for it to win this case, of course.
And are you working only with the European, Parliament about this case, or as Daniel mentioned, you make yourself heard even to the United States, or maybe get more international media involved in this?
Well, what we try to do is we try to focus on, first of all, the European Union, because as everybody knows, the European Union today has the power to either convince Turkey or to put pressure on Turkey, you know. So this is the first stronghold to focus on. The second one is actually the Council of Europe, because as far as we understand, Turkey is also part of the Council of Europe, and from there they can also put pressure on Turkey. And of course the United States is also an important superpower to focus on. So these are the three main focuses of the Syriac Universal Alliance, besides the international media, the media worldwide. But would you mind if I add another thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay,
I don't mind.
Earlier, Daniel already stressed that this week, Tuesday, we were at Diyarbakir University. Diyarbakir is a very ancient city, and there we explained them that Diyarbakir was actually the capital city of an ancient Aramean kingdom in the region of southeastern Turkey. And we explained also a little bit about the history there. But most interesting thing was actually when we were at the end of our lecture that the students were interacting with us and they started to ask us questions.
Were they Syriac students or only locals, I mean Turkish locals?
No, there were actually, most of them were Kurdish people, I think, and Alevites and of course Turkish people. But the interesting questions they asked us in the end was not only about ancient history, but more so in the recent history. They were interested in knowing why did you leave? What were the reasons for leaving this country? And secondly, are you willing to return to this country? And if so, under what kind of circumstances? So we started kind of discussion with them about these things. And actually, I think I can speak also on behalf of Daniel, because we were actually very enthusiastic about this audience. It was a very intellectual, open-minded audience we had there. They were students, and we were very happy, as we also expressed there, that they are actually the future of the new Turkey, and together we as the Syriac Universal Alliance and the Syriac Aramean people all over the world are willing to help Turkey or different forces within Turkey to help the country move forward. I mean, democratize the country, to
make it a better
modernize the
place,
country,
yes.
as Prime Minister Erdogan himself stated. So we in the diaspora can bring with us the experience we have had here in the past 3 or 4 decades by modernizing the country itself, actually. So what we are doing actually here is we criticize the policies and the policies and the actions of the Turkish government, not only this government, but also of previous governments. And at the same time, we also appreciate the forces in Turkey who stand up and are fighting for an open and free society, a democratic society, as we are used to here in Europe. And this distinction is very important to make. So this I wanted to add. And maybe, I'm not sure if there's still time, this Friday we also attended a ceremony where 5 title deeds were given to Syriac villages in the region. If there's still time, Daniel and I can enter into a kind of analysis of this situation, because so far I haven't read myself, and I think Daniel neither, any analysis on the internet or any media at all of this event. While this was actually an event which was announced as a very important event, because Interior Minister himself was announced to come, and be present there, and the governor of Mardin as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Daniel, you can continue this. Thank you very much for sharing your opinion on this good discussion, Johnny Messo. Thank you very much for sharing with us ahead of the SUA, the Syriac Universal Alliance. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Johnny. Johnny's absolutely correct. There's several points that he raised, and I'll try to address one previous point he made, and then I'll come back to the ceremony which was held on Friday, which is very significant and shows, in fact, exactly the mentality of Turkey when it comes to such issues as land registration. Johnny also mentioned that if we lose the case, what will happen?
Yeah.
And we could go to the European Court of Justice and try to win the cases that are currently in place. And there is actually precedent for victory. The Armenians, the same thing happened to the Armenians, and the Armenians took it to the European Court of Justice and they won. The same thing happened recently to the Greeks, and the Greeks took it to the European Court of Justice and they won. And so this is not the last step for us. This is not it. We're going to fight until we win, and whether that means we have to go to the European Court of Justice, we will do that. So that's the next potential step. But at the moment, we're focused on winning now. We have faith. You know, Syriac Universal Alliance has faith. We have faith that ultimately Turkey, that wants to enter into the EU, will act as a democratic country and will give the rights to its minority groups, even though we're not recognized as minority. So that's what we're hopeful for. If I go back to the ceremony on Friday, so Johnny and I were in Tur Abdin at the monastery, and there was a special event that was to be held last Friday. Okay. That special event was held by no coincidence, we believe, on what we call Seyfor Day. Yeah, the Seyfor Remembrance Day,
yes,
the 24th of April.
Yes.
Correct. The Armenians recognize it as the Day of Remembrance, and many of us do as a Syriac people.
4 years now, yeah.
Correct. And what happened was that they announced an event where they would give title deeds to 5 villages. 5 Syriac villages would receive title deeds as a result of the registration process that I spoke about earlier, where they're registering land. And
is it okay to talk about the genocide down there?
No. No, you dare not talk about the genocide
So
there.
you were talking about the anniversary. Is it held secretly in the monastery? I mean, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. Let me say this to you.
Yeah. It's like going back to the crime location and trying to... Yeah,
I know.
so...
It's a difficult... Let me say this to you. It's a difficult subject. The Seyfor is a very difficult subject to address in Turkey. As we know, there's been writers who have written about the Seyfor and they've been killed. So we know about this. This is public knowledge. You know that we as SUA, we as Syriac Aramean people around the world, we know that there was a Seyfor. We know that there was the intentional killing, massacring of our people. That by definition is a genocide. We sit with our brothers, our Armenian brothers, and we also tell them, we also profess that they were also massacred, and that there was also a genocide against the Armenians. There's no question about this. The New York Times wrote about it in 1915 when it was happening. Everyone knows about this. This is why in America, 42 states in America have recognized the genocide. Hawaii, which is the home place of President Obama, just recognized the genocide.
Yes.
This is, let's make no mistake about this.
And even Bush administration earlier, they reached the stage of recognizing that they pulled it back.
There's a pattern, isn't there? I mean, you have President George Bush, before he went to power, said that he would recognize the genocide. He didn't. President Obama, before he became the president, said that he would recognize the genocide. He hasn't. He may not. SUA. We've been talking about this genocide issue for a very long time. previous groups, all Syriac people talk about the genocide. We look to our Armenian brothers, and we can learn a lot